Now on Nightside, Spokane County says the state's inaction caused Camp Hope to grow. The next step in its plan to move campers and who the county says should be reaching for their wallets.
There's a lot more sunny, warm weather on the way. However, I am starting to see some signs of a cool down coming. How long until it will start to feel like fall in your first alert forecast?
Plus, a congressional candidate uses the birth of her child in a campaign ad. Her reason for sharing this intimate moment. You're watching 4 News Now Nightside.
The one man is in custody tonight. Police say he drove by and fired shots at Camp Hope early this morning. Good evening. I'm Aaron Luna.
And I'm Kirsten O'Connor. Thanks for staying up with Nightside. Police say 24-year-old James Ratcliffe gave a woman a ride and believed she had stolen something from him. And that's when he fired multiple shots from his car while looking for her. While no one was hurt, Maurice Smith, a camp director at Camp Hope, says this is the first time this level of violence has happened against the homeless campers.
Even if there was a disturbance, a cause, whatever, you don't shoot people.
And the Department of Transportation says they put up a fence to make the camp safer, but Spokane County commissioners believe it only made things worse.
This is action. This is leadership that we're taking.
County commissioners voted to greenlight prosecutors to file an abatement lawsuit over the camp, which they say is a chronic nuisance property.
And this means that prosecutors are preparing to take the state to court. County commissioners say the site is out of control. Even with millions of dollars being used to rehouse people right now, they aren't convinced things will change. Commissioners say when the sheriff announced his timeline, they decided to help move the process along, and all 3 commissioners voted in support of the new lawsuit. They're blaming the state for the issue, specifically the Department of Transportation that owns the land and the Department of Commerce that's now funding outreach. They want the court to clear the camp out.
We've been hearing that there's a plan in place for over a year. We're coming in, we're going to fix a problem that, quite frankly, the state has let get completely out of hand.
County prosecutors wouldn't comment on the lawsuit they're now working on. When it's filed, the judge will rule whether or not to move forward with clearing out the property. Commissioner Curran says they want to stick with the sheriff's timeline to see change in early November, but the courts will have final say on when things would happen.
We are about to hear firsthand from the candidates for Spokane County Sheriff. They are Spokane County Undersheriff John Knowles and retired detective Wade Nelson. Their first debate is tomorrow. Hear them answer questions about the topics you care about most. You can watch that live at noon on KXLY.com and our Facebook page. Well, it definitely felt like summer this past week.
I keep thinking I'm still in Florida. Turns out we're just having a really summer-like fall. Chief Meteorologist Chris Crocker's here with us. And Chris, we're going to be laughing about this later when it's really chilly and we think, oh, remember how we complained for that week?
Oh, yeah, I don't know if I have not heard a whole lot of complaints, but I think people are ready to break out their sweaters and have a little bit of fall weather. And there's hints of that eventually. But here are 4 things to know about your weather. It's going to be unseasonably warm, sunny and dry all the way through a gorgeous weekend. Then we start to cool down next week. But indications are it might just be a very temporary cool down and we start warming back up again. Our highs today were 15 degrees above average around the region. We were at 80 in Deer Park, 80 in Liberty Lake, upper 70s in many locations around the Spokane area. Coeur d'Alene staying at 73, a bit of an anomaly around the region. Right now, we are in the 50s in most locations. It is 47 already in Deer Park, 60 at Fairchild Air Force Base still, but it is going to be a chilly night again. Crisp mornings, but then we warm up quickly. A few clouds move through our region this evening, made for a beautiful sunset tonight. Those are clearing and we are in for a sunny day tomorrow and warm. A high once again of 79 degrees. I will tell you about that cooler weather on the way in your 7-day forecast in just a few minutes.
Drivers beware. Division Street from I-90 to Sprague will be down to one lane. Construction starts at 9 a.m. and goes until 7 p.m. every day for 9 days. Crews are making repairs to a railroad overpass. The Washington State Department of Transportation says your best way to get around the closure is to get off on Hamilton or Broadway.
One neighborhood near Felts Field is now being torn down. The park near Felts Field is now being torn down after 60 years. For one woman who lives near Orchard Park, it's over 2 decades of memories. When she heard the news, she felt like someone was taking joy away from her life.
The closest park now for the children to go to, or the mothers with strollers and stuff, is Millwood Park. Where are the children supposed to play? Where are the mothers are going to be pushing their children with their strollers?
Spokane County officials say it doesn't make financial sense to invest a large amount of money in upgrading old playground equipment and the aged sprinkler system. Plus, their lease with Felts Field ended. Felts Field wants the land back soon for eventual runway improvements.
Health officials in Idaho are warning people to take extra precautions when going in or near Rose Lake and Newman Lake. Recent water samples show the presence of cyanobacteria, also known as blue-green algae. Exposure can cause hives, rashes, vomiting, coughing, and wheezing. And if you drink the water, more severe symptoms can affect the nervous system and liver.
One of the most consequential court cases in Idaho's history starts tomorrow morning. Planned Parenthood and the state of Idaho are going to battle it out on whether Idaho's recently passed abortion laws should remain in place. Planned Parenthood is arguing it violates the state constitution's guarantee of the fundamental right to privacy when it comes to making intimate decisions on family planning. The other law in question, a civil enforcement bill which allows family members to sue medical providers who perform most abortions. Arguments start at 9 a.m. tomorrow. We'll be tracking the battle and bring you updates starting at 6 p.m.
Well, it's been more than 100 days since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, and some Democrats marked this week's controversial milestone by urging abortion rights advocates to vote.
Our bodies, our lives, our right to decide.
In Gallup's most recent survey last month, 4% of people say abortion rights are their top concern ahead of the midterms. That's down from 8% in July.
American public have an important role to play. They can make their voices heard on this issue.
The president and vice president unveiled 2 new federal protections for abortion access yesterday to protect and expand access to reproductive health care. One Louisiana congressional candidate took a unique approach to this conversation around abortion rights by using the birth of her child.
Well, it's all in her campaign ad, which was released on Monday.
I'm Katie Darling, and I'm running for Congress because I want that better path. For you, for her, and here you go, for him.
Katie Darling says that by sharing her story, she hopes to show voters that issues of pregnancy and childbirth should be up to women and their doctors, not Louisiana legislators. Darling was 7 months pregnant when she decided to run for Congress in response to the overturning of Roe v. Wade. New video shows the moments before a kidnapped family went missing.
And a Purdue University student stabbed to death. Why authorities are calling the attack unprovoked.
And the new plan to make it easier for high school students to get college credits. Nightside will be right back.
Who cares if a school night you dropped out? I know that Marvel's been trying to get you to play one of these characters. What characters have they offered you? Go ahead.
I'm not.
Track live radar on the 4 News Now weather app.
Save 15% off now. SpokaneRainGutter.com.
At Washington Trust Bank, can't is a 4-letter word.
I think we should hire more people.
Doc, I'm late for a meeting. I'm thinking of starting my own practice.
Do it. Too much capital.
We need a warehouse.
I can't imagine how we do that.
We should knock that wall down and expand.
Do it. There's always another wall beyond the wall.
We believe you can do whatever you set your mind to, and we'll help you get there. Washington Trust Bank, privately owned, locally invested.
New tonight.
Aaron Judge hit his 62nd home run. One fan caught the ball. It's estimated to be worth about $2 million. I know. I give you one of mine for half of that.
Plus, Keanu Reeves and Judd Apatow. Jimmy Kimmel Live. New tonight on ABC and stream on Hulu.
My husband has diabetes.
Even with health insurance, we're having a hard time affording our medications.
Thankfully, we have Patty Murray fighting for us in the U.S. Senate. She kept at it till Congress finally lowered the cost of prescription drugs.
And capped insulin for seniors at $35 a month.
Now we'll save thousands every year. We know when Patty is back in the other Washington.
She is working for us.
I'm Patty Murray, and I approve this message.
There's a new face in local news. Kirsten O'Connor joins Aaron Luna and Chris Crocker weeknights on 4 News Now. Committed to our community, invested in you and your family's safety. Get to know Kirsten O'Connor weeknights on 4 News Now.
I'm sorry, sir. You forgot this.
Wait, you...
Customer service.
Your employees work hard for you. Give them a health plan that works harder for them. From Primera Blue Cross, with more options to fit your business needs and budget. Because your employees depend on it. Find your plan at business.primera.com.
4 News Now is brought to you by Pawn One.
Thanks for staying with Nightside. It is another huge matchup for the Washington State Cougars this weekend as they're set to take on the 6th-ranked team in the country, USC. Last year, the Trojans pulled away from the Cougs on a cold and wet Saturday afternoon in Pullman, but this time the game will be down in sunny Southern California.
No excuses. As nice as that sounds, the head coach is letting his team know they're not there to enjoy the beach. They're in town to get a win. Alex Crescenti has more on the serious tone the team has taken this week in the lead up to this massive game.
Well, the Washington State Cougars will be headed down to Los Angeles to take on the 6th-ranked Trojans of USC in a couple of days. It'll be an opportunity for many of the players from California to see family and friends in attendance. But head coach Jake Dickert made it clear, this is a business trip. And if they want to pull off the upset win, the team has got to be focused, as that was the message to his squad on Wednesday.
I showed all the pictures. I had to get them to get their phones out. If they want to sightsee, they can take pictures of still pictures. We're down there for business. We got a focus to us. Guys are from there. They understand it. There's going to be family. There's going to be outside distractions. But it's all about our focus and our energy.
It's just a football game. We're just treating it like a football game. You know, we're preparing the same mentally, physically, just getting ready to win, ready to play. So we're not really focusing on all of that. You know, we're just focusing on the game that we need to play and stuff like that.
Like I said, or getting to the quarterback, just pressure, getting to him, giving him pressure, making him get out of his spot. That's what Coach Coop emphasizes on.
The last time the Cougs won in this matchup was back in 2017 on that epic Friday night where they pulled the 3-point upset over a top 5-ranked USC program. So we'll see if they can do the same over a 6th-ranked team this weekend. Reporting in Pullman, I'm Alex Crescenti, 4 News Now Sports.
Basketball season right around the corner, and according to preseason polls, the Gonzaga women's basketball team is ranked #1 in the West Coast Conference. The Zags received 9 first-place votes in the poll, which is voted on by the 10 head coaches in the league. It's important to note you cannot vote for your own team. The Zags won the WCC tournament last season, but lost in the second round of the NCAA tournament. Zag fans will get the chance to see the Zags for the first time on October 15th at Numerica Fan Fest.
Well, Seattle Mariners wrapped up their regular season earlier this afternoon, beating the Detroit Tigers 5-4 to earn their 90th victory for the 2nd straight year. Ty France driving in the game-winning run to close out the game. Of course, they'll have a lot more to be playing for as they head to the playoffs for the first time in 21 years. A lot of people still celebrating that.
Still celebrating.
And they'll be headed out to Toronto to take on the Blue Jays in a best-of-3 series.
Well, tonight, a vigil for the Purdue University senior who was killed overnight on campus.
The suspect called police to report it himself. He's in custody tonight. 22-year-old Jimin Shah was arrested on a preliminary murder charge. Authorities believe the international student stabbed the victim several times with a sharp object in their dorm room.
Neither one of them were asleep, and I believe this was unprovoked and senseless.
Purdue University assuring students the campus is safe, releasing a statement saying that an investigation is underway, adding, quote, "This is as tragic an event as we can imagine happening on our campus." Members of the university gathered tonight during a vigil for the victim.
In Arizona, a suspect is in custody on the University of Arizona campus in Tucson. Police say a professor was shot and killed this afternoon by a 46-year-old former student entering a building he was not supposed to be in. The identity of the professor and the student have not yet been released.
It's a tremendously tragic event. We feel so incredibly bad for the professor's family, friends, and colleagues, and our hearts really just go out to them.
Police couldn't confirm the relationship between the former student and the professor.
New and chilling surveillance video released shows the moments before a California family was kidnapped.
An 8-month-old baby girl, her parents and uncle seen placed in a truck. Tonight, police have made an arrest. New on Nightside, ABC's Mola Lengi reports from California.
Tonight, the emotional pleas for the safe return of an 8-month-old and her family in California.
Please help us out, come forward, so my family come home safe.
Baby Aruhi Derry, her 27-year-old mother Jasleen Kaur, her 36-year-old father Jasdeep Singh, and 39-year-old uncle Amandeep Singh were allegedly kidnapped Monday. Overnight, authorities arresting 48-year-old Jesus Manuel Salgado.
Time is of the essence. That person right now is our sole lead.
Authorities releasing surveillance video they say shows the kidnapping outside the family's trucking business in Merced. The suspect meeting Jasdeep outside carrying a trash bag. He then puts down the bag, appears to show a gun, before entering the building, where police say there are no cameras. Minutes later, they emerge.
It also appears that Jasdeep and Amandeep are zip tied behind their bags.
Jasdeep and Amandeep are then put in the back of a black pickup truck and driven off. The suspect later returns, retrieving Jasleen and baby Aruhi unrestrained before driving away. Authorities say it's the last time the family is seen on camera. Hours later, the pickup truck found on fire.
A vehicle fire in an orchard.
There are no signs of the family. Then, early Tuesday morning, investigators say the suspect allegedly uses a victim's ATM card. Authorities identifying Salgado as a person of interest. The sheriff telling ABC News that his family turned him in.
The suspect said he had done something wrong and it had something to do with the missing people.
Authorities say Salgado attempting suicide, taken into custody in critical condition. He's receiving treatment. Tonight, authorities are holding out hope that he will cooperate and that the family will be found.
We're not leaving any stone unturned, any blade of grass. Everything we have is out there.
Police say it is possible Salgado did not act alone. He does have a criminal record, a prior conviction back in 2005 for robbery and false imprisonment. He was released on parole in 2015. Mola Lengi, ABC News, Stockton, California.
And we have a breaking news update to this story. We are learning tonight the family of 4 that you just heard about there has been found dead in remote farmland. The Merced County Sheriff calling it his department's worst fears confirmed.
You really want to wish we were in the Wild West, you know, to take this guy out and string him up. But we have a judicial system. We're going to use the judicial system, and hopefully by the time this goes to trial and so on, that it is, you know, he's held to account and answer for everything that's gone on.
Detectives got a tip early Tuesday morning that one of the kidnapped family members' cards was used at an ATM, and this led to them tracking down the suspect.
Alec Baldwin has agreed to a settlement in the wrongful death lawsuit on the set of his movie Rust. The actor, who was also executive producer of the film, shot cinematographer Helena Hutchins during rehearsals last year. The lawsuit claimed that Baldwin and production companies violated industry standards. Work on the film is set to resume early next year.
Switching gears, let's talk about some beautiful weather as we end this work week and head into the weekend. I know it's only Wednesday, but boy, we only have so many beautiful weekends left. 48 for an overnight low, 79 for a high tomorrow with sunny and warm. I should have added one more adjective there. Beautiful weekend, warm weekend. We've got some beautiful, cool weekends ahead. Here's a look at our forecast, the upper level winds, because there's nothing to show you at the surface. An occasional high cloud coming through. We have a ridge of high pressure in place. I'm going to take you all the way through the weekend because this ridge is going to be with us all the way through the weekend in some form, maybe an occasional high cloud drifting through. But then as we get into Sunday night, we start to see what's going to bring about the changes developing. It's dropping out of the Alaska area, the Aleutian Islands, and will be bringing us a chance of showers as we get into Monday night and a brief cool down. The details of how much we are going to cool down are still coming into focus. On the extreme end, I've seen as low as the 50s for highs, but also I've seen the lower 70s for highs. That will again become more apparent as we get closer to time. But our temperature trend over the next 7 days takes us from 15 degrees above average for the next several days to a big dip. Regardless of how low that dips, we're going to be back down closer to average as we get into early next week. Our average high next week in the lower 60s. Won't be long until our average high will be in the 50s. Overnight lows tonight. 48 in Spokane, 50 degrees in Coeur d'Alene, getting close to the 30s, and we'll see some 30s showing up later in the forecast. Thursday's highs will be once again 15 degrees above average in the upper 70s and lower 80s around the region. We'll stay in the 70s with sunshine through the weekend and even into the beginning of next week. Then we'll see those changes Monday night and into Tuesday with a chance of some showers and cooler weather, and keeping an eye out for a possible frost as we get into the middle of next week. I will be back with some Wildlife Wednesday photos in just a few minutes, Aaron.
Chris, thank you. The Washington State Superintendent now says he has plans to make it easier for all students to get college or trade school credit before they've even graduated high school.
He's proposing that these plans allow students to earn both high school and college credit at the same time at no additional cost to students or their families. The superintendent's office has submitted this proposal to the governor and the legislature for consideration in the upcoming legislative session. He says cost is a major barrier for students to access things like AP or other college-level classes. The superintendent is requesting $99 million to help make these classes accessible to anyone wanting to get ahead.
This program consistently serves students quite well who have resources, and families, students, parents, caregivers who struggle financially are much less likely to have students who participate.
If funding for this program is approved, Washington students will no longer be charged out-of-pocket expenses for those AP courses or other dual credit options.
Well, we know Veterans Day. It's not necessarily close.
More than a month away still.
It is still a month away.
But we want to give our viewers a lot of time. Put it on your calendar so that you can honor a veteran that you know, and we can help you. Send us a picture of that person along with their name, branch of service, and any details of their service that you'd like us to share. On Veterans Day, we will honor them with a photo gallery on our website, and we'll share some of the photos right here on our broadcast as well. Just email the pictures to veterans@kxly.com. 4 News Now, we'll be right back.
Download the 4 News Now app today.
My son's name was Carson. He was just the light of my life. His anxiety and his inability to sleep caused him to purchase a pill from Snapchat, and we know that it's what killed him. Congresswoman McMorris Rogers is bringing awareness to this. She personally reached out to me. She took the time to hear Carson's story. She has been driven in trying to prevent further loss.
I'm Kathy McMorris Rogers, and I approve this message.
Sometimes you're so busy taking care of everyone else, you don't do enough for yourself or your mouth. But eventually it will remind you. When it does, Aspen Dental is here for you. We offer the custom dental treatments you need all under one roof right nearby, so we can bring more life to your smile and more smile to your life, affordably. New patients without insurance can get a free complete exam and x-rays and 20% off treatment plans. Aspen Dental, anything to make you smile. Schedule your appointment today.
Bill's Heating and Air Conditioning is your family-owned and operated #1 HVAC contractor in the Northwest. Bill's Heating and Air Conditioning would like to introduce our own carbon reduction program. Buy a new energy-efficient furnace from Bill's Heating and receive a matching air conditioner with installation absolutely free. No hidden fees, no conditions, no exceptions. Buy a furnace, get a free AC from Bill's Heating and Air Conditioning. Call today for estimates and repairs.
Joe Biden's open borders have threatened our neighborhoods and our children's safety. Fentanyl-related deaths have increased right here in Idaho. Gang members transport fentanyl and other dangerous drugs into our schools and communities. This has got to stop. I'm Mike Crapo. I approve this message. It's time we control the borders and shut down the pipeline of drugs and violence into Idaho.
4 News Now is brought to you by Gold Seal Plumbing.
It is Wildlife Wednesday time, and we've got some great photos for you tonight. The rut is on for moose at Turnbull National Wildlife Refuge, and so the photographers have been out in force, including our friend Jerry Rawls, who captured this amazing image just yesterday morning of a big old bull moose greeting the morning sun. He says he took this picture around 8:10, and his lady friend is just slightly off camera. He was pointing out that big dewlap beard that this moose has, and he says animal biologists are not quite sure what the point of that is, but it does make a striking silhouette. Thank you, Jerry, for the great picture. This photo from Nora Jen of a great horned owl at Banks Lake. She says this owl was very annoyed with her, so she had to snap a few pictures and move on. They always look annoyed. I'm not sure how annoyed it really was. Christine Denbroder shared this photo of some pelicans drying off at a local lake after splash. Amazing birds, always so incredible to see, especially in person. From Marty Stowe, one of my favorites, a gorgeous northern flicker in the golden hour. And speaking of big game in love, Mark Vogt captured this image. The elk rut just about wrapped up, and we're trying to caption what is this female elk saying to her male suitor. We're not sure if she's annoyed or thanking him for a lovely rut, or, you know, you can fill in the gaps. Meanwhile, I want to give a shout out to our good friend Mark Vogt, who has not missed a Wildlife Wednesday in about 7 years, I think. He's got his beautiful photos up at the Hayden City building through the holidays. He'll be switching them out. Maybe you'll even get to see him. He's a nice guy. High temperatures today in the 70s, but Coats for Kids weather is right around the corner, and our Coats for Kids boxes are out at many local locations. We've got them on your screen here. Jewelry Design Center, Global Credit Union, Great Floor, and any Safeway or Albertsons. Alsco will be getting those cleaned, and we'll get them into the hands of kids who really need them just in time for the cold weather. You can go to KXLY.com/Coats for Kids for a complete list of drop-off locations, and that will be the spot where we will be having the information about where you can pick up those coats when they're available at the beginning of November.
And speaking of that weather, as it begins to get cooler, I mean, right now, as Chris was just saying, it's pretty warm out there.
It's pretty nice.
But when it gets cold and you drive around, you want to make sure you check your car.
Here's why. You never know what you might find under the hood. One Minnesota woman found 100 walnuts, a face mask, and a bird feather, all stashed away by squirrels, and discovered it during an oil change. It's not the most surprising find at Dan's Pen Auto Repair.
Guy's fan didn't work, or the blower motor didn't work, and we went to take the dash out, and probably about 400 dog bones came out.
Rodents, he says, will also move into warm cars and can chew up insulation air filters and even make a nest, which is an expensive bill for drivers. That's why you don't leave nuts out for squirrels.
Right. I did have a friend whose car got just totally messed up, completely ruined by a raccoon.
Yeah. Ugh, raccoons. We'll be right back.
Stream 4 News Now on your TV for free with the KXLY Plus app.
4 News Now is brought to you by Parker Toyota.
Security video captures a little girl by herself.
How old are you, sweetheart?
She's 3 years old. She's in the parking lot standing here by herself with a pillow.
She had blood on her.
The hair is just sticking up on my arms.
Oh my gosh, there's blood on the front seat.
This Teacher of the Year just vanished.
Solving the crime comes down to a child.
What actually happened was extraordinary.
The all-new 2020 event, Friday at 9/8 Central on ABC.
At 23, I quit my nursing job to care for my wounded husband, student loans and all. We are living proof that the American dream is about hand-ups, not handouts. That's why I think it's insane that Joe Biden and Patty Murray are sending a stadium full of new IRS agents to force families making less than $75,000 to pay for someone else's law degree. It's division wrapped in intimidation, and I will stop them. I'm Tiffany Smiley, and I approve this message.
I'm Mark Peterson. This summer, the Extreme Team and Horizon Credit Union ready to take on the next task. If you know of a project that needs an Extreme Team makeover, go to KXOY.com to nominate it. For News Now Extreme Team brought to you by Horizon Credit Union.
Oh, life, how small you start. In the beautiful beat of a tiny heart. A wonder to witness, a pearl so rare. Will surround you with love and world-class health care. Providence. We see the life in you.
Democrats in Washington are threatening our way of life. Reckless spending fueling inflation. Shutting down energy production here at home. A push to defund the police. Kathy McMorris Rogers is fighting every day to stop them and protect Eastern Washington. Cutting spending to curb inflation. Unleashing American energy production. And making sure law enforcement has the resources they need. Kathy McMorris Rogers, our voice.
I'm Kathy McMorris Rogers, and I approve this message.
Crocs is giving away thousands of free pairs of its clogs to celebrate its 20th anniversary. It's all part of its free pair for all Croctober. Free pair for all Croctober. Apparently that's what they call it. It's the daily shoe giveaway set to run now through Friday, October 7th. To participate, you must join the Crocs Club. It's free and opt in for emails. There's always a catch.
You have to keep getting those emails with the Crocs.
Many people doodle from time to time, but there's one British artist who takes doodling to a whole new level.
He recently crossed one bucket list item off, doodling his whole house. Okay, please don't show this to my toddler. Take a look though, there he is, just covering his entire house in doodles. Mr. Doodle, as he's called, has been doodling since he was 3 or 4. That sounds about right. The whole house took 2 years to accomplish. He's pretty good. Ooh, a car.
Yeah, Tesla.
That doesn't look like my doodle. That's cute.
That's a very unique house, all white. Are you sure that's not an asylum?
We'll be right back.